Okay.
Dennis, I've been waiting
Slower
to have
your
sex.
pace.
No, because I'm so frustrated.
So is he.
This doesn't let me talk.
And
Listen
you
to you.
got to let
Don't
her
insult
talk.
I just want to talk. Let me
Don't-
express myself.
Jasmine is about to go nuts, and I can't lie, the fact that it's Ed on the receiving end of it makes me quite happy. But for as amusing as it would no doubt be to see her go ballistic at Ed, the truth is, this argument isn't really about him. It's about Gino and the future of their marriage.
I don't want to continue a toxic relationship.
It seems to be like we have reached such a low level in our marriage. Like we shouldn't be together, you know. We need to separate for a little.
Yeah, with separation now on the table, it's really starting to feel like this might be the last days of their marriage. But before we dive into this, let's backtrack and start at the beginning. So, Gino and Jasmine came into this tell-all with their marriage already on the brink. Like, they hadn't slept together for over 8 months, which for Jasmine is a deal breaker. And while the tell-all has helped them to address and make baby steps towards fixing some of their issues, it is just that they are just baby steps. There's a long way to go. And back at the mansion, the cast are having one more crack at trying to convince Gino to be intimate with Jasmine. What's it gonna take, they ask.
Why on earth are you not having sex with Jasmine?
You guys see a different thing when I'm here in the house, okay? Everything is lovey-dovey and great. But if you are getting in intense arguments every day...
You're not going to want to reciprocate.
This is like, the 100th time that Gino has had to express the fact he can't be intimate with Jasmine when she's constantly screaming and yelling at him. They need to be on loving good terms for him to be in the mood. Like, I get it. Of course, it's not the same for everyone.
Hey, Gino, have you ever heard of makeup sex?
But at the same time, of course, it's not that hard to understand. And just seeing him talk about it, the cast can all feel just how broken Gino is right now.
Is there a part of you that's just ready to just, okay, go?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I get that feeling.
Gino's obviously at his wit's end, and when Emily asks him why it is that he and his wife actually get into such heated arguments in the first place, what it is that makes them have such explosive arguments that they can't even sleep in the same bed, Gino just replies with,
That's a very good question.
Now, the way he says that kind of implies that he feels it's Jasmine who's the one to blame for the whole situation. But the thing is, from everything we've seen, particularly this season, that's just not the case. Gino also needs to take responsibility. In fact, a large chunk of that responsibility. And when Jasmine enters the room and joins in the conversation, she tries to make that clear.
What about my needs?
No,
I haven't had sex in 8 months.
Yes, okay, but why?
And any other
Can I tell you
person
why?
who
Can I
has
tell you why?
cheated.
Can I tell
And
you
I've
why?
been nothing
Can I
but
tell you why?
patient.
Now, she says she's been patient, but I think it's very telling and significant that she brings up the subject of cheating here, as if maybe it's something that may have crossed her mind. Now, as Jasmine is talking, Ed is trying to make his point, right? He's trying to say to Jasmine that she also needs to consider Gino's needs. But the thing is, with both of them talking over each other, what Ed says next really doesn't go down too well with Jasmine.
You're not listening.
I'm
Can I tell-
listening, but I'm
No, you're
so
not. You're being
hurt.
Angela. You're being Angela.
Listen, this is
You're
the
being
thing.
Angela.
Oh gosh. Being compared to Angela by Big Ed, of all people, might just be the biggest insult on this show. I think Jasmine deserves a round of applause for not immediately losing her cool. But with Ed going on like this, it's not gonna take too long. And when Ed tells Jasmine that he thinks she and Gino are both being stubborn, neither is giving an inch with the other, she begins to crack. And the final nail in the coffin is when Ed then goes on to blame her for her sexless marriage.
I think he's really sensitive.
Dennis, I've been waiting
Slower
to
your
have sex.
pace.
No, because I'm so frustrated.
So is he.
This doesn't let me talk.
And
Listen
you
to you.
got to let
Don't
her
insult
talk.
me.
I just want to talk. Let me
Don't-
express myself.
Look, on the one hand, what Jasmine is saying here is true. Like, we all know it. We all know that Ed loves to talk. He loves to be the centre of attention. But, Jasmine, and it's a very big but, this tone of voice is exactly why you're in the position you're in. And oh boy, does it escalate from here. This can't just be about sex at this point. Like, yes, Jasmine's obviously incredibly frustrated. She craves more intimacy and attention from her husband. But the anger that she has towards Gino has to stem from something else. There has to be more to it than this.
Just the ass. Any other woman
Angela.
have walk around. I have 8 months patiently being rejected and tell them all the that you tell me at home. Even your family is against you, Gino.
Notice how that spilled over from Jasmine shouting at Ed to then directing her anger towards Gino. She can't contain herself. Even your own family are against you, she claims, immediately going in with the low blow. Now, of course, Jasmine is exaggerating a bit, but not all that much. Like, we did see cousin Dana and Michelle come on this tell-all and clearly side with Jasmine. That was very, very telling. But keep in mind, the fact that they disapprove of his stubbornness isn't quite the same as they're all against him, as Jasmine wants us to believe. But Jasmine's all riled up now, and it's at this point that she loses her head.
You were being so lovely just because you wanted to look like you are trying. But at home, every day I have to deal with this.
I don't know, I'm not quite sure I agree with Jasmine here. Like, yes, it's clear that Gino has been making steps, baby steps. He has been putting in more of an effort with the crew here to help him, but Jasmine's claims that he's been so lovely just aren't true. Sorry, but aside from a very, very awkward kiss, Gino hasn't exactly given the impression that he's fighting very, very hard to save his marriage. In fact, if anything, I think it's almost the opposite. I think his demeanour this entire tell-all has actually been very resigned, almost as if the end of his marriage is inevitable at this point. And frankly, Jasmine screaming at him like this is probably only making this belief even more firm in his mind. Like, it's almost ironic, isn't it? Because as Jasmine screams at him saying, every day at home I have to deal with this shit, you've got to imagine that Gino's thinking and feeling exactly the same thing about her. Especially when her rage also has the tendency of suddenly turning into uncontrollable crying.
You don't make me feel beautiful. He doesn't love me.
I know,
And
I know.
love
I
him.
do love you.
You don't love me. Why you don't want to have sex with me, Gino? It hurt me.
Okay, so for the 101st time now, Gino tells Jasmine he can't have sex with her when she screams at him every day. But Jasmine calls bullshit on that. She says there have been periods during the last 8 months where I have been lovely and nice. There are times where we don't argue, and even then, Gino will just bring something up. He'll deliberately engineer a fight just so that he has an excuse not to have sex.
I can understand why he would not want to be intimate with Jasmine because of the way that she yells and carries on. But what I don't understand is the length of time that it's been happening for.
Ashley's nailed it. There's definitely something more to this. Like, this problem has been going on for far too long for it not to have been resolved by now. Like, let's just say it straight. If he can't be attracted to her, if he can't be intimate with her how she is, with who she is as a person, then they just can't be together. He needs to let her go. Jasmine's not gonna change. She is who she is. She is overly emotional. But that's just her.
Love me for who I am.
That goes both ways.
Yeah, that goes both ways. Come on.
No, and then you always say that I'm the one who acts crazy.
I mean, I'm sorry, Jasmine. People say you act crazy precisely because of overreactions like this. She's completely gone bananas at this point. Totally over the top. And Rob, who, by the way, his own marriage is crashing and burning, but Rob comes up with actually some pretty good advice for Gino. It's almost like it makes you question, where has this Rob been this entire season? This guy giving the advice actually seems very emotionally intelligent.
What I can see is in this very moment, you're stronger than her. I think you gotta go comfort her and make her feel loved.
The one thing I learned when she gets like this, I have to give her time to calm down.
Jasmine's core issue is that without sex, she doesn't feel loved or wanted by her husband. But it's not just about sex. Like, if Gino can fulfill that need for her affection, her love in another way while they figure out their intimacy issues, if he can at least show her with touches, kisses, hugs or other forms of affection that he does love her, well, that would be a huge step forward. But the thing is, after 3 long days of filming, drinking and being basically under observation, it seems like this has all just got too much for Gino.
Just to get through the day, bro. Just to get through the day.
You're very broken, right?
It feels like you're having to put yourself second when you know that you've put yourself second 1,000 times.
So while Gino is left to get the comfort that he needs, in the other room, Jasmine is getting the perspective that she desperately needs from Sophie. Remember, Sophie is also in a sexless marriage. She's been vocal in the fact that she resonates with Gino. She understands his position, and she tries to convey to Jasmine that the lack of sex actually has nothing to do with a lack of attraction. I'm very attracted to Rob, she says, but I don't sleep with him because I have a physical reaction to being unhappy. If I'm unhappy, it doesn't matter how physically attractive he is. I can't get in the mood, she says. This is a mental thing, not a physical thing.
I never wanted to do that to you.
No, but I know it's not your intention, but you have to see it's nothing. You're so stunning. It's Gino's mind, and Gino's kind of like me. I can't have sex if I'm not in a mental good place. I can't.
That is understandable, isn't it? And whilst the girls all agree that actually it's a lovely quality to have in a man, unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that things just can't continue going the way they have been. Both of them are miserable. Like, something has to change, and it has to change fast. Gino can't conveniently keep blaming just Jasmine for all of this. He needs to take responsibility for himself too.
She said she's sorry like ton of times. So I also see where Jasmine's coming from. Like, either you forgive
But look,
me
so did
or
Rob.
you don't forgive
Rob said
me.
sorry to me a bunch of times,
And you
I'm
can't
still
forgive
not.
him either,
I'm still
yeah.
not him though.
So while Gino's pep squad encourage him to go and talk to Jasmine, to fight for her, as they say, Jasmine's cheerleading squad, by comparison, encourage her to set a timeline on letting Gino win her back. But the question I have while I'm watching this is, why is everyone pretending that Gino is someone that he isn't? Like, someone please point out to me, at what point during years of seeing these two on our screens have we ever seen Gino to be that kind of man? To be the kind of man to fight for something? Like, that just isn't him. And it's definitely not gonna be him in a short period of time either.
Give yourself a time limit for him to try to win you back.
He has 4 weeks, a month.
Will Gino rise to the occasion? Is he gonna sink or swim? Well, a little later on in the night, while the cast are all packing to head home, Gino hesitantly, very, very hesitantly, joins Jasmine in their bedroom. Now that she's calmed down a little bit, they can actually sit down and have a civil conversation.
I am very hurt. I understand that you're hurt and that I have hurt you so many times. I'm tired of fighting, you know.
I am too. I'm tired of it.
These two are like two little children who have exhausted themselves after having a temper tantrum. They're too tired to fight. It's almost like they're too tired to have a proper conversation. I mean, watching this, it feels like they've both lost the will to try and make things work between them. That willpower, the willpower that's probably the only thing that's allowed them to get to this stage of their marriage, is unfortunately ebbing away. And if that is indeed the only thing that's holding this marriage together, well, it's about to break.
I don't want to continue a toxic relationship.
We have reached social, like, low level in our marriage. Like, we shouldn't be together, you know. We need to separate for a little.
Now, Jasmine isn't saying that she wants to break up. She's stopping short of saying she wants a divorce. What she's saying is they need a separation. They need time apart to assess where they're both at. I think what she's hoping for is to start afresh on a clean slate. Maybe she wants to be dated. Maybe she wants Gino to win her over again. Like, that might sound trivial, right? But when you're married, when you're in a long-term relationship, things can get stale. You can find yourself in the same habits, and she wants to break those habits. She wants to feel wanted again. But the problem is, I don't know if Gino's the right man for that.
I want you to miss me. Like when I was in Panama, that you used to miss me.
Well, no, you can't compare Panama.
Sadly, Gino completely misses the point. He says to his wife, you can't compare Panama because long distance was easy. It's living together that's proven to be the challenge. And yes, while that's true, he's missed the essence of what she's trying to say. Jasmine wants Gino to figure out a way to recreate that feeling of longing. The feeling of being excited, wanting to see and talk to your partner. The feeling that's missing now. But unfortunately, their conversation gets cut short. It's now time for them to leave the house. And both of them also seem to be in limbo about whether or not they also need to leave their marriage. Can this be saved, they ask.
I have to pack because we have to leave.
Honestly, if she starts listening to me and we stop fighting all the time, I think we have hope.
So Gino's take from all of that was nothing. He still thinks it's all on Jasmine. He won't take responsibility for his own part in all of this. How sad, how worrying. And sadly, that is the cliffhanger that they leave us with. That's how they leave the mansion. But before the episode ends, they do show us some bonus extra footage. Footage taken throughout the tell-all that didn't make the final cut. Keep in mind, this is footage from days earlier. And one of these bonus scenes includes a lie detector test to test Jasmine's loyalty.
Are you attracted to Gino?
Yes.
True.
It's an excellent start, and the cast are obviously seriously impressed that Jasmine is willing to put herself on the line like this. And you know what? So am I. Especially considering none of the other cast, not a single other cast member, agreed to take the lie detector test. Gino included. Now, as Jasmine sits there all strapped in, everyone's rooting for her. And as the next question gets read out, you can hear the audible reaction from the rest of the cast.
Did you cheat with Dane the night before you left for America?
No.
True.
Dane may be old news, but this has always been an unanswered question. There were always lingering doubts about whether or not Jasmine had been truthful about her relationship with Dane. Now, at least, she can clear her name, at least in so much as these lie detector tests are accurate. They're not 100% accurate, but I think this is good enough. Now, the final question for Jasmine is quite a big one. It's one that actually provides a lot of context for what we've just seen. Her suggestion of a separation rather than a divorce.
Do you plan to leave Gino?
No.
True.
Just look at Gino's face. He's absolutely ecstatic, and I think quite relieved. I mean, while at no point has he admitted that he's scared she'll leave him after getting her green card, I think that is a very present thought in his mind. But now that Jasmine has passed this unpredictable test with flying colours, surely Gino has got to be pleased with that.
Gino's feeling pretty good right now. He's got to be feeling pretty good. She loves that man.
Gino, buy her a new car tomorrow.
Now, remember, this lie detector test happened the night before their huge fight. If only the pair could remember how high they both felt in this moment. Maybe the memories of those feelings, the answers to those questions, might help them find the will to once again fight for their love. Will it be enough? Well, with the season now over, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Watch this space.